It's an uprising. It's an uprising.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Live stream.
Hey,
My
everybody.
My name is Edie Arndell. I am your host, and I have my wonderful co-host here, Mr. Scott Free.
Hey, everyone.
I'd like to welcome Ashley Brown. She's currently hanging out in Seattle because there's some stuff happening in California, but she's a California Green. Welcome, Ashley Brown. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me. California Green Party, working a lot on the communications committee and the membership outreach committee, but I'm still a relatively new Green.
Okay.
So it has been
Green.
quite the
You're green
journey.
to the Green Party.
I'm a green, yes.
Hey,
Fresh
we were all
blood.
there at one point, right?
Hashtag green.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what made you choose the Green Party?
So I was living in Hollywood, and Hollywood is the capital of dystopia. So when I found out about Gaza, I lost my mind. I was just absolutely devastated because I thought, how could I possibly not know? How could I be so tuned out and not know that this is happening? And I absolutely berated myself for not knowing. And I saw something on Instagram, and there was a live protest. So I go out, and it's like a couple blocks. So I go down and I protest, and I'm like, thank you. I'm so, like I feel terrible. I'm crying, and I'm just like, I want to support so bad. And then somebody comes back to me, and they go, after I posted a video of the protest, and they said, where are you getting your information? Like, you realize you want my family to die. And this was from my best friend. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like people aren't even aware of this. And I'm like, how do we even stop this? So I'm on TikTok doing all of my searches, and the veil was just lifted. And all of a sudden, somebody posted on there, they said, do you know about Jill Stein? No. And then you see all the rumors. So I go down all those rabbit holes. I'm like, oh, fake news all over the place. What is going on?
Exactly.
And then I just dove in. I was like, how can I help? My background's in production and marketing. I was working in fashion. I'm like, who cares? So how can I help? How can I actually be a helpful voice to whatever needs to get out there? Because if I don't know, and everybody down there doesn't know, and they think I'm crazy, how can I help? So I'm an aggressive volunteer.
There you go. No. I mean, Ashley, do not feel bad. I that's one of the things that astounded me is when we learned about the truth about Israel and its full history. I was like, how did that propaganda go on for decades and we have no idea? I had that it was a fully apartheid state, and you had to go through Checkpoint Charlie's, and there's a barbed wire fence around an entire city, and they blew up the airport in 1990. I mean, I had no idea. None.
And then you throw in APAC.
Oh my God.
And I'm looking at all these videos from the past year, however long, and they all have the Israel flag, and I'm like, whoa, when did this happen? Right. So yeah, it's quite the revelation there.
Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's kind of how a lot of things are, Like Instagram woke me up to it, and before you knew it, my friend that you may or may not have met, Joni, she got on a plane, flew to St. Louis. I went and picked her up, and we went to the rally in DC in November. That's how upset we were.
Wow.
We're like, no, we're going.
Yeah.
And I've never felt safer or more loved or more welcomed than when I was in this huge crowd. And then my other bestie, Yvonne, that's here in Carbondale with me, we went in January again.
Wow.
Because we got to see people speak. Yeah, it was really cool.
I don't think I knew the term comrade before this, but now that is the absolute. That's what it is. You meet your comrades. You're like, we're ride or die for real. Like, we're not going to put up with this. That's how I'm here. That's how I got here. So shout out to the comrades.
I think that goes in some sections and not so much in others. Like here,
well, it has a communist background. It's like the proletariat. There's certain terms that get used all the time that some people react to in negative ways. But no,
I don't even know. I'm just
okay, yeah, right. No, no,
Comrade
right,
works for me.
right,
Comrade in
absolutely.
arms.
No, absolutely,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. People have
Yeah.
your back. You
Yeah.
know, your
I think
battle
that's the bourgeois term too. They
Right. It
my
came
local DSA likes to say that a lot. That's where bougie comes from.
bougie. Right. There you
You're
go.
so bougie.
Yep.
um yeah, so yeah, I mean I can't believe they're attacking them again. I
It's
just
starting all up again. It's horrible. Oh my God.
Ariel, did you want to show did we have the graphic for the general strike?
Yeah.
Hey,
So we're
Greg.
doing, yeah, we're doing a general strike out of Illinois Green Party, and of course, we want everyone to sign on and become co-sponsors. And so we are organizing a general strike, and we put it on the 7th of every month, and the monthly was Edie's idea, which is really a good idea because the main thing about a general strike is you try to organize and organize to have this single event, and then it's done. Whereas this, because unfortunately we know that this will continue, like you said, with the APAC money behind it, this will not stop. This is not going to stop. And so we have to be protesting. And we just felt like a general strike is the right way to approach it. It's something everyone could do in their own way. So we ask people to make no purchases on that day, post information and memes about the general strike and Gaza and Palestine and the left bank and everything involved. Yemen, and call in sick from work if you can, and stay home from school if you can. So that's our requests of people. So we're trying to spread that all around on social media, and like we said, we just hope it gets bigger and bigger every month because
Yeah, and it kind of felt like Gaza was being sidelined because everybody started talking about Ukraine. So
right,
that was kind of our reaction, like, "Hey, Gaza's still happening." And
right.
then ceasefire didn't really ceasefire, and now we see that is out the window. And I don't know if you all saw the protests in New York. They've been there for 2 days, and Status Quo's been covering it.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's been great. What's up,
Hey,
Zucker?
Zucker, yes.
Hey.
Hey, Zucker. Hey, surviving.
And Cody.
All right.
Yep. And what's up,
Yay.
Jones?
Wow.
He found us. We moved the day, and I didn't see him for a while, so I guess he found us again.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that so we could be like YouTube friendly. You know, Sabby has her Tuesday and Thursday or Friday thing, and just trying to like find that so everybody has their space. You know,
Yeah,
so we
I
can
mean-
And
support each other.
it is hard to find space on YouTube. I just want to say, like, I think this is great because on TikTok we can only say, words out of a fruit salad over there. We get
Right.
shut down otherwise. So we get all the
Yeah.
bananas and all the things. So
Yeah, it doesn't stop me. I say exactly what I mean to say, and just wait for them to come get me. Like,
I mean, all the
Yeah.
platforms have their issues. I mean, I watch enough shows where they have to censor themselves, or they go to Rumble, like they'll start here and then they'll do the rest over on Rumble. So, I mean, YouTube has its own issues because that's our main one. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, but and we haven't come up across any problems yet. But certainly in the COVID area, that was the complete shutdown. I mean, you couldn't say anything against the vaccine and all that. But and now Palestine, they're certainly shutting the Palestine issue down.
yeah. So who's your friend?
This is Cash.
Hey,
So
Cash, hey.
He's always extra needy. I don't think he can hear you.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh my God, I'm so ignorant of technology.
Oh, we didn't really see your head.
Cash.
Hey, Justin B's in the house.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
Hey, Justin.
Yes.
So
Oh my
many
God.
awesome Greens getting involved.
Yes.
I really feel like Seattle was like a really big connection point for us. It was just like a place for us to hang out and meet up. There was people from 14 different states there.
No, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, when you think that, I mean, I understand since the COVID era that the National has only done their conventions online, but right, that was probably the biggest Green Party group together in years. So it was so great that everybody got to meet each other.
Yeah,
That's
this is where
I
I
had no idea. I had no idea there was going to be people flying in from other places. I just happened to be here. I just happened to be displaced.
We're like, we want healthcare. Yeah, we want this. Yeah, we want that. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's
go do that. Amanda Marie Brinkley. Hi guys.
Hey,
Hey, Amanda.
how's it going?
So you have kind of a big story to talk about. There's a lithium rally on April 5th. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Is that why you're not in California?
No, actually, I didn't even know about the lithium fire that happened.
Oh,
The reason I left California was the three fires that were there a couple weeks before.
okay.
So yeah, so I was in Hollywood, and I was renting a room or whatever, and it was up, and I was just like, I can't talk to anyone here. I mean, I
Mhm.
literally couldn't have a conversation where people weren't just, you get to a point and they just tune out and you can just see it. And I'm like, I have to, I don't know what to do. So, and then on top of it, the air is clear. Everything's great. I'm like, I don't believe any of it. We just had three fires for 24 days, or like, yeah, 24 days. Yeah, it was 24 days each, right
Mm.
within, a few miles of me on two different sides, and then a third that was there for a couple of days or whatever. I'm like, I am out of here. And so I drove north. And for me, where this started was when I was, and I sent Ariel a video clip, but it was when I was driving over. It was just over the grapevine, up, and it was the most apocalyptic scene. Yeah.
Oh
So that
God.
was me leaving Hollywood. So
Oh
I
my.
was like,
Oh
this
my
this
God.
is the day. This is before the fires even started in Hollywood. So this is from the Palisades and from Eaton. So it's just everywhere.
Mm.
And I was like, we left for a little while. Then this is the scene. Autocorrect on the phone does not do it justice. It was
Yeah.
brown. It was just apocalyptic. So it looks
Mm.
like the sunny day. I'm like, I was literally in that for hundreds of miles. And I
Wow.
was at this point, I was like, it smells like smoke. And I was looking, I didn't see anything about fires or anything like that. Well, I guess a couple days earlier, they had just put, it had just gone out. The one over in Moss Landing. So this is, I mean, these are our crops.
Mm.
This is over the cattle. So that's our food. Look at the air, 70. It's like going down.
Yeah.
And my filter in my car was already not good. So I was sitting there like, oh my God, this is so
Oh.
What if
terrible.
what if the car dies, right?
Yeah,
Oh
I
God.
didn't want to get out. I was like, are my lungs going to explode?
Mm.
And then I get here and I just put in a map because I was like, look at how close that is. And the air is negative, it's at 83 or whatever. It's just dropping 113. It's like in the red right there,
Mm.
right next to the Bay Area. But it's in Santa Cruz. So this is like 2 hours away. I'm like, so there was no connection.
Right.
Now we get a request basically from Butch Ware. They said he wants to come up and do an event to talk about the lithium, or the fires at Moss Landing, the lithium fires. And I was like, what is this? I don't even know about this, because even going through it, I had no idea. I just assumed that smoke was from Los Angeles or something. It went over no. That all that smoke is like, it's probably all of it all throughout that valley. And
Mm.
so I'm looking into it, and the more I look into it, it's called, everything you read is like the Moss Landing fire. It sounds like the hill from Sound of Music was on fire, right?
Right.
Sounds, la la. Oh, so sorry about your hill, But the more, and I'm like, I think that's intentional. I mean, I know that's the location, but like that does not sound any alarms. And so, especially when you just came from three,
Right.
okay, boss, oh, sorry about your loss. And then I'm looking into it, I'm like, these are lithium fires. These are lithium storage facilities. They can't put these fires out, literally cannot put these fires out. So I get upset. He gets upset because he does. And
No.
so
It's
now
okay,
we're
Kat.
like, yeah, so what do we do? So he said have an event. I was like, we need to rally and we need to call these out for what they are. They need to be, this is the lithium fire rally, because 70% of our food is in that is right near them. 70% of America's
I'm
Wow.
in
like crops,
California.
like
Wow.
produce. Yeah.
So was
So
it all poison now? Oh my God.
so
And
and they don't have enough testing. They don't have enough. Like it's in the soil, it's in the air. When they try
Mhm.
to put it out, it's in the water. Where do they put the water? You don't know. But there's not enough information. They're still going. There's 200 of these in California.
Mm.
They're all over. And then I'm reading even deeper. Now it's also, you have the EV batteries. Those go, that's why those can't get put out. But you have your cell phones, you have scooters and buses and freaking go-karts, like everything's got these EV batteries in them. And they're basically have tech that they have produced and created, and they're building and making billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars off of. And there's no way to prevent it. We're building before we have the prevention.
Oh,
So this is just this happening. So now April 5th, Santa Cruz, we're going to have we're calling it a rally, but we're going to have some speakers there. Butch will be there. Sean Doherty, who is actually, we are very proud to say this, he got the most votes for any federal green, any green running at the federal level. And he's going to be running again. We haven't officially announced, but I'll be campaign manager for Sean.
Excellent.
He's going to be speaking. Yeah.
Oh,
And
excellent.
Gabe Medina, who's right in the he's in the rural part of California that was super impacted. So there's also things like, redlining, those kind of issues that are going to come up. And then we also have the Never Again Moss Landing, who has been raising awareness as much as they can. So we'll have a couple other speakers as well, but we want to just educate and spread this awareness. But I was just like, we have to rebrand this. This has to be called the Lithium Fire. We cannot.
Yeah.
We cannot tiptoe around this anymore.
100%. Brian Grigsby made an interesting comment. I don't know what IK stands for. Oh. IEOK. Lithium vehicles are IK for city transit vehicles, but it's horrible in Midwest and northern climes. In France, 91 Citroen had diesel car that 100 miles per gallon. 200 Paris government cars burned ethanol vegetable oil.
When you talked about the lithium, I was not aware. And again, it points to just the incredible amount of propaganda that goes on, because what does someone do if there's a fire? They throw water on it. I mean, that's what everyone knows you do to right.
Well,
and so or fire extinguisher.
Right. So it's never been told to the public that all these things that are out there in our country cannot be extinguished with water. In fact, that's a way for them to explode more. So it's unbelievable.
And it's like this new green energy.
Right.
It's that, so they're making so much money off of it. Of course, they're not going to tell us.
Right.
Absolutely not going to tell us.
Because the candidates
are funded by this.
Yeah. That's what the environmental movement got so hurt when the billionaires took it over and made it their campaign, because this is the end result, right? That it's still, they're going to turn it into an industry. Our climate disasters, they're going to make an industry out of it. I mean, it's capitalism again.
Yeah, that's all.
And this is
making money.
This is throughout the country. This is not just this. They had them down in San Diego. There were lithium fires down in San Diego.
Wow.
There's the new storage facilities that are popping up. Kern County has one of the biggest. I don't know if it's the storage facility, but there's a big one over there. They're everywhere, and no one knows. The worst part is the delayed health effects. So it's super delayed. So now, a month later, now people, we have another green who she's coughing up blood clots.
Oh God.
And she went to, she talked to somebody, and they said, it was the insurance person or whoever was helping her. That's who told her to get tested for the fire. She didn't even realize that it could have been from that. Now she's on an inhaler, has to go and do these CAT scans, has to do everything. Had she not said that it could have possibly been from the fires, she would have had a clean bill of health.
Wow. I mean, they basically abandoned us, and they're ripping up our environments and our communities where we live. I mean, look at Flint, Michigan.
Right.
Status Quo covered that relentlessly. It's still not fixed. That's been years. No. That's been since Obama.
Right.
I don't know if everybody knows what happened there. They the governor, Republican, doesn't really matter though, decided that he was going to switch the water from, was it the Detroit River to the Flint River?
Mm.
And without checking the quality of the water. So the old pipes didn't agree with it. It was a different like mixture. Like I think it was more alkaline or something. So everybody got poisoned by lead. Good job.
Yeah.
Poisoned
Yeah.
the city and still not fixed, and nobody's been held accountable as far as I know. I'm sure Jordan Sheridan would know a lot more about it because he covered it really well.
He did, yeah, right.
Thank God for him. And y'all remember Obama like fake drinking the water
That was
in
horrific.
front of those people?
Just
Like,
disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
oh man. I don't know.
Now it's the metals in the soil. There's like 5 different metals in the soils from this, and that's just what they've been able to test.
Yeah.
So and it's everywhere. I just it terrifies me. So I'm literally like, I'm now the hippie that's like, go buy seeds,
Yes.
soil.
Right.
I don't know how to do it yet. We have to do it. We are like at an immediate. It's like a immediate, urgent public awareness.
Yes.
You know, with everything that's going on. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Planting season has started.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, so right now you can plant potatoes. And
Sounds familiar.
Laura's here. So I would say don't buy gold, plant a garden. Laura's
There you
here.
go.
If you're ready,
Yes.
we can bring you up. Just give us a thumbs up. Are you thumbs up?
Okay.
Yay, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine, except I'm sort of shocked. I don't usually mix up dates, but I
Oh,
had this on for next week.
don't stress. Don't stress. We're casual here.
I'll try not to.
Yeah, it's a hangout. It's a hangout. So we're good.
I don't usually do this, but here I am. Hello, Ashley. It's nice to see you.
Hi.
And
Well, for
I
our
can
audience,
verify
this
that's
is
the first time.
for our audience. This is Laura Wells. She's California Green spokesperson for Green Party of California. Is that how you say it? I know it's
yes,
usually like swapped around depending on the state. Spokesperson, and you ran for governor in 2010, and you also ran for Congress. So whatever
Yes.
you'd like to discuss, we were talking about lithium, but we can talk about you for a minute.
okay. First, pronounce your name for me, please.
Oh, it's Edie.
Edie. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, just jumping right in. I never actually planned to run for office or anything, but it has turned out that I've run for office so many times.
Yes. There you go.
Every 4 years since 2002, but I have stopped and opening the door for other folks. But just quickly, in 2002, what happened was that there were some faux Greens who had registered as Green, and they were going to run for state office. I mean, at the time, you could have a free ballot statement. Since then, it's $25 a word. But so they could put out whatever their point of view was just by registering Green, filing some papers, and running for state office. So then we gathered up, and Greg Jan was one of the people back then, gathered up a slate for all 7 offices for everything from governor, attorney general, secretary of state, treasurer, controller, public instruction, and insurance commissioner. I think that might be 7. And somebody asked me, would you consider running for controller? And I had a financial background. And I said, well, yeah, it'll save me from putting a sandwich board on myself, walking up and down the sidewalk and saying, follow the money.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Why do they do this? Why do they do that? Why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. Follow the money. And of course, now it's truer than ever.
Once you know who's funding who, it's obvious what they're going to do. You don't even have to ask. You can like not even listen and go, oh, well, who donated to your campaign? Oh, I see what you're going to do.
Yep.
Yeah. And war makes money. Destruction makes money.
Yes.
And then there's the construction contracts and stuff like that. I mean, from the campaign contributions to the profitable contracts is a straight line. And so it was follow the money. And actually my longer slogan was to understand what's going on, follow the money. To know what to do about it, follow your heart.
There you
And
go.
I think that's still true because we're all different. And
Mhm.
those differences are crucial because when you follow your heart, you know, you have the passion for it, you have the skills, you're interested, you'll stay with it. And all the problems, one of the things that I love about the Green Party, and I've been since it began in California in 1992,
Ooh.
is that
Nice.
there's the recognition that all of these things are interconnected.
Mm,
Peace and justice and the environment and democracy. It's all interconnected. When you've got problems in any one area, you've got problems in the other areas. If you have solutions for any one area, it ripples to the other areas. It helps. You improve democracy, you get more peace. You know, you improve the environment, you have more justice. You know, it's just
yeah.
that's the way it is. And a later slogan of mine was, "There are solutions."
Yes.
You're speaking my language. That's what I
Yes.
always say. Scott will call me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, this, that's it." I'm like, "Well, here's my solution. What do you think?"
Oh, can I
Yeah,
just complain a little more?
yeah, you can. You know, I'll listen. Justin B
Well,
says, "Huge fan of Laura."
Yay.
yeah. So complaining is, you know, you got to do that sometimes.
What did what? Yeah, what did I say on Facebook? I said, "Stop complaining, start campaigning."
Campaigning. There you go.
oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, and I grew up in Michigan,
Oh,
next door to you all.
Yes. Yes.
And
okay.
then I'd spent some time in Boston on the East Coast. And when I came to California, I had to drop sarcasm. They didn't do sarcasm in
That's hilarious.
California.
I wouldn't survive there.
No, it's harder and
Oh man.
harder. But
Well,
I've
San Diego seems to get it because they put up with me for 20 years.
Okay.
well,
Because
good. Yeah.
I'm full of puns and one liners.
Uh,
It's just
Yeah,
like a dream.
right. But I have to, I found that I have to say blah blah blah. And I'm being sarcastic.
oh
Blah blah blah.
yeah. Right.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Right.
But yeah.
Brian says, I'm in Florida with lonely Jill Stein in my yard. People say, "Who is that?"
Oh.
Oh, I see.
Like, you living under a rock? Even the best people in Florida are vote lesser of two evils. It is maddening. Well,
Yeah.
until recently, because now they see who the Democrats are.
Yes, I
Hakeem
know.
is like, what do you want us to do? Like, you could have like done something before November.
No,
Well,
I was talking to a friend who, though I've been a friend for many, many years, and their two statements was, well, I get my news from NPR. And the second one was, who is Jill Stein?
yes.
And that happened this
Yeah.
week. That
Yeah,
happened this week. I'm
they
like,
can get all
you,
the news.
how
Yeah.
do you not really? They never once mentioned Jill Stein, but that's what
No,
we're up against. That's NPR. Yeah.
that's NPR. We have KPFA, which is Pacifica. I think it started in
Oh
1967
yeah, I know that
in the
station.
Republic of Berkeley, California.
Mhm.
Um, and they're, you know, not corporate media. They're tied to the Democrats.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they're beyond NPR, you know, and
Right.
and
Right.
and so many. Yeah, I mean, we've got our work cut out for us. I'm so glad to see younger people involved, you know, as well
Yes.
as us older people still involved. But I put out a survey uh, among my friends. I put out a blog, and it goes to a number of people whom I know in political circles, but it also goes to people in other circles.
Mhm.
And I sent it out to about 75 people, and I got maybe 50 responses back.
That's
And
good.
I'm still recovering from the responses
Mm.
because in order to have voted green, or in California, there's also the Peace and Freedom Party, which we
Yeah.
can talk about the left unity slate, but
Yeah.
the Peace and Freedom Party, which is very close in values. In order for any of my non-political circle friends to have voted for either green or peace and freedom, It was virtually impossible.
Mm.
They had to be
Wow.
in political circles. They had to be
Yeah.
heavy duty political activists. And the way the system, the two-party system, it's really, you can't blame them as being stupid or whatever, but it did show that none of my monthly blogs made a difference.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so
Right.
you go, what are, and,
Well,
Kshama Sawant is
Mhm.
doing the workers
Strike back.
strike back,
Mhm.
workers strike back. And I think, Ashley, you went to that.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yes, that's how I
That's where
met
we
you.
met.
That's
Yeah.
how you met. So you all, went. I didn't go. I wish I had. But, and talk about one-on-one conversations, just talking to people until they get it, and
Well, that's kind of preaching to the choir, and our challenge is, the Democratic voter, I think, and the non-voter,
And the
because that is
non-voter.
the biggest group in the country, the non-voter. We're in Illinois. It's a whole lot like California. It's been very blue for a very long time.
right.
People are starting to see that the Democrats aren't the answer.
Yeah.
Bernie's trying his best, but people aren't buying it. And then he got outed. We showed that last week, where he thought he was, going to get a love fest by these two girls going, "Hey, Bernie," and then they asked him about Mahmoud Khalil, that was basically kidnapped from Colombia and taken away with guys that didn't identify him themselves in a unmarked van. I mean, it's like something in a freaking horror movie, and they took him down to Louisiana,
because there's a very friendly judge there that will give them the outcome they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shopping your judge, they lied to his wife about where they were taking him. She had the lawyer on the phone. They wouldn't talk to them. And, as soon as the girl said, "Hey, we want to talk to you about Mahmoud Khalil," and his attitude changed just like that. And he became kind of hateful and dismissive. And he kept saying, excuse me, I got to get to a rally. I'm like, if you're not concerned with somebody being kidnapped from
Right.
then why is anybody listening
Then
to you?
whose side are you on?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, let's show it. Go ahead, Ariel. Do you have that clip? Maybe. Maybe not. I thought I saw him bring it up. So
Okay.
Hi, Bernie.
there we go.
Hey, we're really worried about Mahmoud Khalil out of Colombia.
Okay, excuse me. Okay.
Will you do?
Excuse me.
Will you do
Excuse
a
me.
statement?
Thank you.
Will you not? Will you put out a statement?
What did I just say? I got to go to a rally now.
I-
Excuse me.
I
We're
understand
just
that,
walking
but
with
this
you.
is really, really dire. This means
It's urgent.
They're coming after this student.
It was they kidnapped him.
Oh,
And the thing is, as soon as you heard that word, it was excuse me, because the one thing he doesn't want is any press statement. That was what he was avoiding, having to say anything that would get into the press.
He's not good on foreign policy.
Yeah.
No.
He is the worst. He's the person
He's not
that
the
keeps.
worst.
Well, you know what,
Soccer says,
Laura?
He's the best.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
for me, as I know, the best of, right? Yeah, for me, it really hits because, like we've said many times, Republicans are just openly evil. And so you get that at face value and you can judge that. Whereas these folks pretend to be the good guys. And that actually I feel is worse. The AOCs and the Bernies are worse because they are tricking all these people and they're following something, with the addition that press does not cover any alternatives. So this is all they have. I mean, that was the one thing that got to me about my conversation with my longtime friend, is he was so discouraged about everything that was happening and not realizing there was some alternative. And
Right.
when I told him that, the Green Party, he was like, "Oh, I'll go look this up." Right? The
Yeah,
fact
so
that there's
Jay
no
Walker
alternatives.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jay Walker has a question. Are there any young, promising Greens in the California Green Party that are not Gabriel or Chanel? I guess it's an inside joke.
Oh, yeah. Or without that name, that specific name.
Are they the only two? And the answer is no. I mean,
No.
they're not.
And in fact, we are at our ramp up stage. So tomorrow we'll have an California Green e-blast newsletter go out. But for the past couple of weeks, we've been really trying to pull together multiple events to try to bring the Greens together. And the first one's going to be, on the 24th, we're going to have a volunteer meetup. That's more, it can be for anybody, but we're really looking for some creative juices to come in, and we know people are interested in that and stuff. So it's like, we need to have just like a little a meetup to talk about that. And then we're also doing a county-wide meeting for a spring forward. That's on the 27th. And this is like another thing that we've had a few meetings on it just to kind of feel it out, but we have kind of like a little subgroup that we've created that's for the campus greens. So you know how you have the Yes Caucus, that's for like 35 and under, and that's a very active group from my understanding. And I know a couple of people, I think from our little group, joined to try to partake in that too. But what we found was we would get volunteers that were they were like on campus, or at a university, and they didn't know what the next steps were or how to activate the campus. And I kept going, well, hey, does anybody where's the best reference for this? Who can I point to, or how do we do this? And I couldn't find any answers. So I was like, well, let's just come together and talk about it. I'll pull in, David Cobb and a couple other people over here and see if we can figure it out. And it started to build in a way where they became more comfortable. The students that were asking about this became more comfortable and just going and tapping into other groups and other actions and activities and talking about it. So it's less of like us being, influencing it. It's more just having the space so that we can, come up with ideas. And Butch is going to be there on the 28th. So this is going to be like our big, kickoff. So it'll be like Campus Greens. If you're an educator, you're a student, you just want to support that. That's really what that space is going to be for. So yes, we do.
Find out information. Where can they find out?
On our CA Greens website, I just updated the calendar.
Okay.
Which is in the very top tiny corner. We're working on the website, guys. Okay, we're working on it.
We're working on ours.
Yeah, I know.
We can relate.
But there is on the top, there's a little calendar. Also, you can on the homepage, there's a subscribe button, and we're trying to get more newsletters and stuff like that out. So to answer your question, yes, and we're actively trying to continue.
Nice.
To bring more in.
Yes.
I wanted to bring up Zucker's. Yes, Caucus, California could really be a boon to Dr. Ware's campaign too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't show this one. Zucker says, I wasn't going to the ballot box until I heard Dr. Ware speak.
Yes.
So
I mean, the
people
man
don't
is
know
phenomenal.
He's running for governor of California.
Yes.
And he's going to need the entire country's support because they're going to go hard at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we have a real chance to get that. Because Gavin Newsom, he's off in La La Land somewhere, and he can't run anyway, right?
Right.
He can't run again.
Right.
He's basically running for president right now. He's a disgusting human. I cannot stand him.
Yeah.
I do not know where the homeless are. I don't know where they've taken them. That was another big issue for me when I was waiting to, when I was trying to come up north. I was like, where are all the, literally 100, we had 74,000 or something or in Los Angeles, and I'm driving around usually they're right here, usually they're right there, and I couldn't find them. I'm just like, where are the homeless? What's going on? There's so much shadiness out of this man. It makes me sick.
What makes me sick is that Gavin Newsom made a photo op out of the issue. He made a photo op of ripping down tents. I mean, that's your Democratic Party there.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
They're authoritarian. They just put a nice face on it. They smile when they do it, which I think is more evil. I don't know.
It is. And the thing that for me living down there, I would say to people around me in Hollywood, I'm asking these questions and they're looking at me like, well, isn't that a good thing? I'm like, where did they go? There's thousands that are you privileged, I don't, but they don't see it, and so, and then it doesn't pop up in their news feed. It doesn't pop up in their Instagram feed. So they don't care, and that's where our voices matter so much. It's just trying to find more people and connect.
I was going to say, I saw that clip where this lady was during the LA fires. She's like, holy crap, is that Gavin Newsom? She couldn't believe it. So she got out of the car and talked to him. She's like, where's the water? Why why is there no water in this town?
Right.
And he's like, we're working on it. You know, gave the
It was so
you know.
staged.
Oh yeah. Oh, you think it was
That was
staged?
like the worst acting I've ever seen by all both parts.
Well,
Why?
he
Didn't
came off
even make you
looking
look
like an
good.
asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, can I say
Yeah.
asshole? I guess I can.
Of course.
You just did. Yeah.
I just did. So there you go. This is not for kids. I already said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think that the Butchware campaign really needs to hammer is debate. Let's have a debate. Let's have a debate. Let's debate the problems, debate the solutions, because one thing that people want, I mean, the surveys show that they want a third party, but they want debate. They want the issues to be debated, and they have seen some really bad debates. And it's like, let's have good debates with solutions, with dealing with the real problems, and just make a case for what people would really love to see, and then make a case for whatever the powers that be, the media and all that, make a case for what they're doing or not doing, just hammer on that. And a couple of the things that come to mind about that is that, we're talking about Gavin Newsom, 2003 in San Francisco, a special mayoral race was heartbreaking because Matt Gonzalez got within a couple of points. Like he had 48% to Gavin Newsom's 51 something.
Wow.
And Gavin Newsom became mayor of San Francisco, but almost a green, Matt Gonzalez, almost, made it in a Democratic Party town. And one of the reasons that he got in, one of the reasons that he registered green was that Medea Benjamin, who's a co-founder of Code Pink,
Oh yeah.
and who ran for Senate against Dianne Feinstein way back when. So this must have been 2002 that she ran against Dianne Feinstein for Senate, and Di-Fi refused to debate her. And Matt Gonzalez was like, that's not fair. Forget that. And so he registered green because of his integrity, with not being able to tolerate the Democratic leadership attitude about that. So he registered green, and then they did surveys about who's the best person to go up against Gavin Newsom. And they thought it would be this other council member whose name I can't think of at the moment, Tom Amiano, something like that, I think. But it turned out to be Matt Gonzalez. The survey showed that it would be him head to head with Gavin Newsom. Do you know who came to town, who came to San Francisco in order to combat the horror that a Green might win against a Democrat? Clinton, at that point, former President Clinton.
Yes.
Gore came.
Yep.
And not to mention Barbara Boxer, the senator, Dianne Feinstein, the senator, and Jesse Jackson.
They were very worried.
They all came. Do they go someplace to fight against the Republicans? No, they go to Michigan and take a Republican with them.
Right.
So they're not fighting for those things that are important to people.
No.
It's so obvious. But Matt Gonzalez came so close. It was heartbreaking that he didn't become mayor of San Francisco. But Butch Ware, he is so clear, so well spoken, as I know I'm speaking to the choir here. But
big fans.
But debate. Just call for a debate. For a debate.
Yeah, he's going to be on our show in April, right? Isn't April
16th?
Okay.
A couple more weeks. Yeah.
So we're very excited to have him here because he's dynamic. He's absolutely dynamic.
Yeah, and clear and truthful and real.
Yeah.
And he has a sense of humor. It's like good.
I loved his Instagram post where he's talking politics in the gym while he's doing weights. That was my favorite one.
Oh, really?
Got to stay in shape to fight the
It was
duopoly.
hilarious. That was hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah, he would mop the floor with them. I really.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why they won't debate though,
Right.
Yeah.
because they know it. They don't have any answers. They don't
No.
have any solutions. I'm like, okay, anybody that's listening that still thinks the Democratic Party is an option, listen for a solution. Listen for an action that they're going to do to get to the solution.
Right.
All I have heard for the past 10 years is, here's the problem. Let's define the problem. Let's talk about the problem. Da, 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 da. They're very good at that, but
Right.
solutions, not so much.
Right.
Yeah.
And when there are solutions presented to them, handed to them, they refuse to do anything about it. I mean, Force the Vote was huge. I was out on a street corner down in OB during Force the Vote with my sign, you
Right.
know,
Mhm.
like they had leverage right then.
Yeah.
And everybody from the squad said, nah, we're scared of Nancy. We want our job. We like our health care. You know,
Right.
I'm not going to worry about y'all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of healthcare, I mean, so Illinois has a trifecta, I think. Isn't that true, that you have governor and both houses of the legislature, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat?
Oh, it's probably been that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been that way for a long time. Sometimes we have a Republican governor, but yeah, very often it's
Okay.
a trifecta.
So California's had a super trifecta for at least a decade.
Mhm.
And healthcare, California is so big that that whatever happens here could affect the rest of the country. And so Butch Ware it's very wise to be going beyond the borders of California, just even for his governor campaign, because it has such an impact. But so there's a super trifecta, means that there's that they can't even override that they can override it, and no veto can be overridden by the
Right.
opposite side.
Right.
You cannot blame 34% even of the Republicans. They don't have it. We've got the super trifecta, and we don't have health care. We
Mhm.
don't have, and there's more to that story, and we don't have social housing. We don't have a kind of the housing that they have in Vienna, where almost half of the housing is government owned,
Mhm.
which brings up the quality of the government housing and down the prices of the private housing.
Yep.
And so that they sort of equalize that, and they can't charge such
Right.
high prices because the government is providing good, solid housing, not
Yep.
bad housing.
Yep.
And and education. People are, you'd think that it would be impossible to have free tuition. Well, guess what? California used to have it
Yep.
with Jerry Brown's father, and then Jerry Brown was governor.
What year was that?
Well, it was way back, probably in the 60s, or the early 60s. I know that my daughter went to UC Santa Cruz, which was one of the last of the. There are 11 University of Californias,
Mhm.
and then there are something like 20 or 30 California State Universities, and all
Right.
of those. So it's a mammoth system. Maybe like, what's that? 34 universities. And it used to be tuition free, I think, in the 60s. So it may have started later in the 50s. And Jerry, speaking of things that start in California, the tax revolt by the oligarchs started in California.
Wow.
With Prop 13 in 1978. I know President Reagan from 1980 to 88 gets a lot of the credit for that, but I think Jerry Brown should get a lot of the credit for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Brian
did not
says
know that.
Reagan ended free college.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and it was 2 years before Reagan was president that California passed Prop 13, which flattened property taxes and essentially made it very difficult to raise taxes. Jerry Brown had been governor for 3 years before that. Talk about solutions. They could have come up with some solutions so that old people didn't lose their houses because of rising property taxes. That
Right.
could have been solved without flattening property taxes, ultimately benefiting the corporations.
And the
Yeah.
rich
Because
people.
and
Yeah.
the super rich and the corporations, because it
Right.
applied across the board.
I always
Yeah.
said, so I lived in California or San Diego for quite a while, and I always said, I really like it here. They're going to have to kick me out. Well, they finally did. It wasn't like directly,
Yeah,
but I
Mm.
couldn't afford to stay any longer.
right.
And
Yeah.
there's an exodus going on, I hear.
Yes.
But Sabby was talking about that. Oh, hey, Zucker. Median voters' political depth starts and ends at social media. We need to activate folks once they actually try to move one of their fave libs on an issue. They'll see how cursed the system is.
Right.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I had to leave. I couldn't survive. I mean, I had a decent job. My husband was working too,
Mhm.
but they kept selling our mortgage to a different company, and it started out. I know people in Illinois don't stroke out, but it started out at like $1,600 a month. I know that sounds crazy, but when we sold the house, it was at $1,900 a month, and we couldn't keep up.
Yeah,
We only lived there 8 years. It went up $300 in 8 years.
Yeah.
Why? We
Yeah.
didn't do anything.
yeah,
That,
You
Yeah.
know.
that's been that happened to me when I was living in Florida for a little while, and then I came back to California, and then of course you're like, it's the same price for a bedroom, and then you
Yeah.
have more opportunity here. But now, exactly what Laura was just talking about, what you guys are talking about, we have all of these issues and no solutions. And I'm telling you, these lithium fires, we have people displaced. How are they
Mm.
going to eat? We have people with health care issues. And
Yeah.
I'm not a Democrat here saying we don't have solutions. I'm just straight up saying we do not have solutions.
Yeah.
They
Good
have
point.
out-teched us, and we need to just stop it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all of the things that we're saying, we're set up to fail here, and they're charging us out the nose, and they're making a gajillion dollars off of it,
Yeah.
profiting off of it. It's absolute madness. So this is going to be all over the place, and we need to prepare, and we need to, come together and like
There
real
are solutions. They're just not
Serious.
presenting them.
Serious about the seeds.
Plant your garden. Plant your
Yes.
seeds
Yes.
Dead
on
serious.
on soil that you know is safe.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention too, Democrats defeated universal health care in California, CalCare,
Yep.
twice.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Gavin Newsom.
I
Yep.
helped organize the March for Medicare for All in LA. I was one of the co-founders of that organization, and how it became kind of like I added on to Scott's idea about the strike being every month. I originally talked to Sharif Snuggs in New York. He's like, I want a big rally in DC. I said, I can't afford to fly to DC. Can we do it everywhere? Because I'll just do something here in California. And that's
Yeah.
how that happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, but
But- yeah.
And Bernie didn't
it
make
worked.
that one. I'll tell you that.
we invited all of them. I wrote the email myself.
Yeah.
I invited every single congressperson and senator to our rallies. I think the only one that showed up in DC was Cori Bush, and nobody would speak.
Right.
We wanted them to come show us support, and like we wanted to push them. So you can't push them.
No.
And if anybody's watched Sabby lately and Bree, there's been leaked videos of what Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman had to go through during force the vote and different things. It's a dictatorship, dude. Like,
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
take that, throw it away. It's not true.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
I think, like,
had my rant there. I feel better.
to the point that I was like earlier about, it starts on social media. It's absolutely for the current moment right now. Like I said, I just tuned in, landed on this planet of awareness in 10 months ago. And it took someone who is extremely curious. And luckily, I come from a very small island. I come from Vashon Island, where we learned. My government teacher was amazing. She had us investigating, comparing the world news versus the local news. How did it break down? How are they doing the stories? How much time was put into this story
Oh.
versus this story? And it
Yes.
was like, whoa, okay, I'm going to question. So my whole thinking is questioning authority, and so. But that's me, and I'm also wicked ADHD. So I just am constantly on the search for answers and information. But we have to ignite that curiosity in people on every social media platform. We can't just be like, hey, they're bad, and look at all this history. Like, that's my only critique of the Greens, is that y'all are so smart, way smart, way educated, way experienced, and there's nothing better than that. But also, we're all new, going like, what are you talking about? Can you just tell me what you're even talking about? What is the Green Party? That took me months to figure out. Like, why do I have to go to the state party? Aren't I supposed to volunteer just at the Green Party? But I was volunteering for Jill. What? Like, it's a lot to navigate.
Well, you know what?
Make it like, I don't mean dumb it down. I mean, we need to make it simple and entice curiosity, the
Well,
political participation.
if I could add that one thing that I mean, I've been very peripheral to the Green Party. I'm only really involved in the past year. But, I was following Cornel West is going to run for president. And then, he switched to the Green Party. Then he left the Green Party. And at that point, Jill Stein was like, okay, I have to run.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that she knows, is the importance of having a strong candidate there for president. People love to complain. They show up every 4 years. She knew that her campaign would help the Green Party. And there is no doubt, I'm sure the California Green Party is growing right now. The Illinois Green Party is growing like crazy because of that campaign. So yes, there's a lot of new people and everybody's asking questions, and they're asking Edie and I, who are kind of new to it. So we don't know a lot of the answers, but it's the idea that things are happening. They are growing. And it's an exciting time. You were talking about the seventh slate. We're putting together a seventh slate of candidates here in Illinois right now. So, yeah, and it's just, we had our first meeting the end of the night, and it was so exhilarating to see all the energy that's coming. People we had never heard of, they're popping in and checking us out and interested in running. And so, yeah, it's a dynamic situation with the Green parties. I'm sure in almost every Green Party around the country.
Yeah, and 2026 is going to be our year, I think. And here's why. Democrats have shown that they can't get anything done, and they're a bunch of losers. Republicans have went off the deep end with all the authoritarian craziness and all the things that people thought they were going to do, they're not doing. I mean, where's this great healthcare that Trump promised last time? Still don't have it. Just saying. Now you're cutting my Medicaid. It's like they've been outed as being frauds. So this is our moment, and I am very excited about what's going to happen in the next year or so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we got like 3 more minutes. Is there anything you'd like to close with, Ashley? And well, since you were here first, is there anything that you'd like to say?
I think I just heard you right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's coming through weird on my end.
Just a closing remark, if you have
I
one.
could hear you.
Yeah. So closing remark for me is participate in politics. And if you're watching this, that's probably a redundant thing, but I think it's so important to reiterate to your friends or family and drive that awareness. And also check out our, californiagreens.org. Sign up for our newsletter, especially because we do have a lot coming up. And we do want to rally. We want to build this, and we're in this literally together. This is for our survival. Yeah. And please look into the lithium fires, please, please, please.
And the postal rallies, we forgot to mention that, but those are going on all across the country.
Yeah. On Sunday, right?
Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nalc.org.
Yes.
Yep. All across the country.
I'll say a real quick.
Laura, you go ahead. We can stay longer. It's fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to cut right in.
We're not.
So I was trying to be respectful of your time.
Yes, thank you. I love it. So I have a website, laurelwells.org. So it's just my name.org. And I do a monthly blog. I'm just committed to doing a monthly blog. Sometimes it's about directly Green Party. Sometimes it's Latin America. Sometimes it's, whatever. But I want to say, I'm thrilled to pieces that Ashley Brown has come into California. I can't tell you how excited I am, as well as Gabe and Chanel and Sean. And, there are just some wonderful people coming in. It's fabulous. And I just want to make a pitch for the system, because issues tend to be more, people tend to be more passionate about issues. And that's very, very good. But we also need to deal with this system. And the
Mhm.
system takes, what if there's a verb I could say to everybody, it's connect, 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 connect. And the problem with with organization, with solidarity, with connection is that people are people and they can be outrageously irritating, and it is not that easy.
Mm.
It can get to be where it's difficult to work with people, especially when they get some areas and they don't get others and things like that. But I just think we really need to stay connected, find a way to stay connected, get interested and stay connected. And the system, dealing with the system, is some of the stuff that takes back office, getting together, just meeting, going to the meetings. If it's boring, if it's not, if people are going crazy and you think, sometimes it's exciting, but sometimes it's just, you've got to grit your teeth and get through it. That I just, my big wish is that we all have increase our capacity for creating solidarity, for connecting with each other and staying connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Get out in your community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, did you have anything you want to close with?
Well, I wanted to add a little to what Laura said. Is that's the really, really cool thing about the Green Party, is that it shows the importance of all the issues, and it tries to deal with all of them, and connects them, and also just that it's such a wonderfully open place. There isn't any super rigid hierarchy, as Edie and I kind of found out as we fell into it, and which is great. It's such a great space to work in. I absolutely, for the ones out there who haven't touched the Green Party yet, please check them out whatever state you're in, because it's an excellent place to be, to hang out, to connect, and yet it has all of the important issues to us. And you're so right, all of those are connected. So that's my plug for the Green Party.
Okay. Well, thank you, Edie and Scott and Ashley.
Yeah, thank you for
You guys
coming.
can hang on
We're
afterwards
thrilled.
if you like, after we close, if you want to just casually chat, but you don't have to.
Yeah,
Just wanted to make sure you knew. And I would say that join your local, your chapter, your state, and check out what the national is doing as well. But the state parties have a lot of room to grow.
Mhm.
And if you get in that space and you're a little mixed up, what you should do, find something you care about and suggest it. This is how I've only been with them 7-8 months, and I've suggested things and they've happened. Like I suggested the Healing Us documentary. We just had it last month.
Yeah.
Just get in there, make a suggestion, find out how things work. It's going to be a little bit different in every state, but Greens are incredibly wonderful people. I feel like I found my political family finally, after being in the wilderness for years. I should have just, when I voted for Nader in 2000, I should have just stayed, but propaganda gets in your head. And I would say thanks everyone for being here. Please
thank you,
share, and subscribe to the channel, and tell all your friends, because we're kind of awesome over here.
Yes. Thank you so much, Laura and Ashley. This was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for being
I'm going to
here.
have to run, but thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. And tune in on Saturday at noon.
Yes, we'll be doing news of the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
An uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising. Fight the power. It's an uprising. Fight the power.